The world has changed a lot since 1939. We have witnessed spectacular progress in many aspects of society. We have gone from local to global, and from analog to digital. Our story begins on April 13, 1939, when 10 Dade County employees collected $135 in a cigar box and signed a charter to form an organization. This was an idea based on a sincere desire to help their fellow workers gain financial security and independence. On May 1, 1939, Dade County Employees Credit Union was born. Meanwhile, in Europe, World War II begins. Later, the war effort will jumpstart U.S. industry and effectively end the Great Depression. In 1940, the world witnessed the first color television. The top-selling movie was Pinocchio, and Tom and Jerry were first introduced. Shares in our credit union had grown from $135 to $3,056, and several loans were issued with an outstanding total balance of $2,443.50. 1941 was the year the U.S. joined World War II. Though many of the cities in Florida were heavily affected by the war, Miami remained relatively unaffected. The 50s, good times and good music. 1950 marks the invention of the first bank card, later known as credit card. While Miami-Dade County's population grew to almost 500,000 people, we also saw an increase of membership and workload to our volunteers. This resulted in our hiring of the first non-volunteer, full-time employee. In 1957, the first currency bearing the motto, "In God We Trust," was issued, and by 1958, we have reached $1 million in assets and over 3,200 members. The 50s ended with the Cuban Revolution and the first wave of Cuban immigrants arriving to Miami. The 60s arrived bringing winds of change and hope. Although it started with the Cuban Missile Crisis and the unfortunate assassination of John F. Kennedy, it was the decade that brought us Woodstock Festival, the Beatles, Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech, our beloved Miami Dolphins, the first ATM, and, of course, Man on the Moon. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey of our first 30 years. Please stay tuned for this continued celebration of our 75-year anniversary when we cover the groovy 70s.
When the moon is in the seventh high.